Welcome back to the pop culture discussion. I am your host, Robert, and today I'm doing something a little different. With Spider-Man back front and center in the pop culture spotlight, thanks especially to Insomniac's Spider-Man 2 being released recently on PS5, it's reminded me of a fun little Spider-Man film theory I've had for quite some time. Is Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man a stone-cold killer? To back up my outrageous theory, let me explain how I came up with it. So, this whole theory began with just one line from Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker in Spider-Man No Way Home. That was,
I stopped pulling my punches. I got rageful. I got bitter. I just don't want you to end up like me.
Now, to the average viewer, this might seem pretty harmless, and that Andrew is just saying he got more brutal in his crime-fighting ways. But to us Spider-Man comic book reading fans, there is way more darkness underneath this brutally honest sentence. Let's start with, at some point, I stopped pulling my punches. Now, for all the casual Spider-Man enjoyers out there, just in case you didn't know, every single time Spider-Man fights an average human, he is pulling his punches. With the amount of strength Spider-Man has, if he didn't pull back, he would kill every regular human with a single strike. In case you aren't aware of just how strong Spider-Man is in both the comics and the movies, he has had multiple buildings dropped on him, and he has been strong enough to lift these buildings off of himself to get free. That is tons of weight lifted by this superhero. Now, imagine a punch coming from someone who can lift a building. Yes, a full building lifting force. A single strike would wipe you out. And if you can't imagine that, it would be like an incredibly powerful gun firing straight at you at point blank range with a giant fist-sized bullet. Obviously, it would go straight through you, or it would just straight up annihilate you. Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire is the perfect example of Spider-Man pulling his punches because of every single fight he has with Doc Ock. Dr. Octopus is an ordinary man with 4 super strong robotic tentacles attached to his back. If Spider-Man put his full strength into punching Doc Ock, he would KO or kill him instantly. But he pulls back, allowing a fair fight between them. Plus, the movie would be over 5 seconds into their first fight, and that's no fun to watch. My favorite example of Spider-Man not holding back in the comics is a what-if spin on Spider-Man Back in Black, where Kingpin arranges MJ's death, and out of revenge, Spider-Man punches straight through Kingpin with one punch, instantly killing him. Spider-Man could do this every single time he fought someone if he wanted to, but he doesn't because he's trained himself to hold back all of his punches. And the whole with great power comes great responsibility thing, but everybody knows that. So that leaves us with Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man saying he is no longer pulling his punches. So is he now the Marvel version of One Punch Man? And for those of you unaware for what One Punch Man is, it's an incredible anime about a superhero that can literally defeat any enemy with a single punch, and it's way more entertaining than it sounds. Plus, if you're wondering just how strong Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man is, just look at the very first time he got his powers and accidentally wiped out a group of people on the subway without even trying. Moving on, let's look at the next line. I got rageful, I got bitter. Now, this just makes me think of Dennis Reynolds' Spider-Man swinging around New York City with untethered rage, ready to unleash 5-star level golden god justice upon any poor criminal that gets in his way.
Holy shit. Dennis is Spider-Man.
I've contained my rage for as long as possible, but I shall unleash my fury upon you like the crashing of 1,000 waves! Begone, vile man! Begone from me! A starter car! This car is a finisher car! A transporter of God! The Golden God! I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds!
And we all know Dennis Reynolds is a killer, so that answers that question. Now, the third and final line is definitely the icing on the cake for this theory. I just don't want you to end up like me. Now, this is Andrew telling Tom he doesn't want him to end up a killer just like him. Now, I think Andrew is just being nice here and trying to comfort Tom, but later on, he definitely changes his mind. In the final act of Spider-Man No Way Home, Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Green Goblin are having a brawl with Tobey and Andrew watching on. Tom gets the upper hand and immediately goes for the kill on the Green Goblin. Now, Tobey steps in to stop Tom, but Andrew is nowhere to be seen in this fight. Why? Because he obviously understands Tom's frustrations and the need for revenge through killing. Yes, the average viewer would see this as Tobey stepping in to save Tom from making a mistake he might regret, especially considering Green Goblin is actually Tobey's villain, so the nostalgia bait is obviously driving this sequence as well. But it doesn't really make any sense considering Tobey's actually a killer as well, but let's not focus on that, considering it was basically an accident, and that's not what this video was about anyway. So looking at this scene from Andrew's point of view, and him intentionally not stopping Tom, then you can totally see he is okay and absolutely on board with a villain getting killed. It's honestly extremely possible that Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man's very first kill was his Green Goblin, which could have activated his rage and bitterness towards criminals. It totally makes perfect sense Andrew wanting to hunt down the one and only other man responsible for Gwen's death. Yes! Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man is by far the funniest and happiest part of No Way Home, but I honestly think he pulled his punches the whole movie purely because the other Spider-Mans were too. Or perhaps Andrew befriending these new Spider-Mans reminded him of a happier and simpler times of himself being Spider-Man, when he did the right thing and he didn't kill people, encouraging him to do the same thing again here. Or, and stick with me on this one because it's a bit of a stretch, but when Andrew Garfield catches MJ, saving her life before this final fight with the Green Goblin, obviously his reaction is because he couldn't catch Gwen. But what if it's more than that? What if this single deed of catching MJ was the first good thing he's done in years? What if after all the killing he's done, finally saving someone gave him the feeling of being the original happy-go-lucky Spider-Man he once was before Gwen died? I know I'm getting a bit ridiculous with this theory now, but it's honestly very possible. Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is my favorite live-action version of the character, so by saying he is a killer, I am not trying to bring down or destroy the character's legacy in any way. If anything, I'm trying to do the opposite. Honestly, imagine if this is real and we now have a Spider-Man that is not only willing to kill, but so casually go about it without holding back on his powers. Imagine the black symbiote suit on this version of Spider-Man, the darkest stories we could see with it. Do we need Tom Hardy's Venom to team up with Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man for this to happen? I would absolutely be on board for that. So what do you think? Is Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man a killer? Or is he just the most broken of the three live-action Spider-Mans? I mean, he's lost everything. He's lost Uncle Ben, his best friend Harry, and the love of his life, Gwen. Honestly, only a performer as spectacular as Andrew Garfield could bring such an amazing and broken version of this character to life in the way that he did. And if we were ever going to get a stone-cold serial killer version of Spider-Man that has given up on life, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is perfect for the job. The groundwork is already been set up for us. Now, to the average Spider-Man enjoyer, I very well could have analyzed the Amazing Spider-Man scenes way too deep in Spider-Man No Way Home, but at the end of the day, this is just a fun little theory that I have about this character and the evidence I have to back up my claim. If you've made it this far into the video, I just want to say a huge thank you. I wanted to try something a little different for my channel, and I've had this fun little theory in my head ever since watching Spider-Man No Way Home. If you like this theory and want to see more like it, absolutely smash that like and subscribe button to show your support, and I will catch you all in my next video.